Hi, this is Chloe here at Inner Whispers. I really enjoyed doing the 3x3x3 witchy tag last week, and it kind of inspired me to think, well, what about doing a 3x3x3 tag for divination? So I'd like to suggest that this week, looking at your 3 top tarots, 3 top oracle decks, and then either 3 top Lenormand decks or 3 top other forms of divination or divinatory accessories. So let's go over and have a look at the cards. So I think my absolute favourite deck has to be the Druidcraft Tarot. There's just such vibrancy and beauty to Will Worthington's art. I adore this priestess drawing down the moon, and also the beautiful nature that he's put in there. I think as well that the court cards have an awful lot of personality, like this Princess of Cups looking deep within, and it's also very cool that the way they were designed, the kings and queens of each suit are in the same landscape with one another. I don't know if you can, how well you can see that, but they're in the same place. Such a clever idea. And I also like the pagan take on quite a few of the cards, like this 7 of Pentacles, a time for assessment. You have to wait for the right time to harvest mistletoe. And this 3 of Wands with the 3 little saplings really shows us that this isn't about something that's complete and finished. It is those first shoots of new growth of a new project. So altogether, this is an absolutely gorgeous deck. Next up is the Tarot of the She by Emily Carding. She doesn't flinch at dealing with the hard cards like the Tower and the 3 of Swords in a very empowering way. And there's also the absolute joy of cards like this Dancer 3, which would be the 3 of Cups, titled Jubilance. I also adore the little phrases that she's come up with for each of the cards. For example, the 9 of Pentacles becomes root and blossom, that real feeling of delving down with your roots, taking the time to nurture something, and so then something amazing blooms. Once again, it has some very powerful court cards, like this gorgeous Prince of Pentacles, probably my favourite in any deck anywhere, and another wonderful King of Swords with a lot of insight, and also things like the Hierophant shown very differently, and even the 10 of Wands with its pagan idea of the great task, holding the bridge between the worlds of the fairy and of ourselves. Fabulous, powerful deck. And my third in favourite tarot terms is the gorgeous Tarot de Sainte Croix, which just came out last year in 2014. And I love the multiculturalness of it. We go from Egypt to Japan to ancient Rome to the Hindu pantheon and modern day Buddhism. And it does have both that old feeling and a modern feeling, like here with our 3 of Cups. It's friends sharing a cup of tea, a game, a snack. It also, once again, has very strong court cards, this witty Page of Swords, and the absolute overflowing emotionality of the Queen of Cups. And it deals well also with difficult cards here, sewing up the heartache with that needle in the front, and a very powerful 5 of Swords, the terrible pain of families that break up and how children can be treated, and yet also beautiful nature as well. That was a common theme too. So here we have the 8 of Pentacles with a beaver building a dam out of pentacles, and those pagan influences again, manifesting energy through the 2 of Wands, and this lovely ceremony with maiden, mother and crone for the 6 of Wands, showing success coming through group working together. Moving on to oracle decks, I have chosen the Goddess Oracle by Haranto and Marashinsky. I love that there's once again a great cultural variety here, and very real women. These aren't all just pretty young things with perfect bodies, though there are some of those. There's this cultural variety, but there are also women who are strong, powerful in many ways, from many places, and even playful nature with Bast. And I love that we have some wonderful, strong crones in this deck, as well as some very youthful maiden cards. Next up, I chose an angel deck. This is the Angel Insight pack, which was later re-released as the Archangel Oracle. And I like that here you have 4 suits, so to speak. So the white borders are for the Archangel Gabriel, and then you have different aspects of that angel, grace and inspiration. And I don't know if you can see this wonderful silver filigree that's been added to it so that these really sparkle and twinkle. I do love my sparkles. So then we have Archangel Michael with blue borders, offering us protection and passion amongst other things, and green borders for Archangel Raphael. And finally, Archangel Uriel with red borders. Once again, seeing the sparkles there. They're catching the light. These are just fabulous cards. I love them, and they're wonderful for angel readings. The third in my top 3 oracle decks is the Oracle of the Shapeshifters by Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffith. Those on here, try and avoid the glare. I love, once again, there's this multicultural aspect from Japan, Native American images, and also we have both mythological figures as well as figures out of fairy tale and myth, but a very empowering version. Little Red Riding Hood says, "I am not a victim." And we have Alice in Wonderland in a Sea of Tears. We also have this kind of steampunk feel to some of the images, as well as a certain darkness that she doesn't shy away from, which I think is wonderful. And then strangeness as well. I love that there's such variety, as well as cuteness. And for me, this deck, I think it's partly the animals in it that make it really appeal to me, speak to me. I love the artwork. And my third set of 3 tags is Lenormand decks. So here I couldn't start with anything but my own, the Celtic Lenormand. And as I said before with the Druid Craft Tarot, I absolutely adore the vibrancy of Will's artwork. And here we have this sort of setting in the Celtic world with Celtic clothes and implements, but also that the Lenormand deck is so very natural, and that goes beautifully with Will's artwork. So we have cards which I hope are clear and yet also very beautiful and speak on a number of levels, offering once again pagan themes, even if they aren't multicultural. Not shying away from the stronger, harsher cards. Sly Fox seeing his dinner, but also full of beauty and nature. The second Lenormand deck I'm going to choose for my favourites is the Mystical Lenormand by Regula Fichte and Urban Troche. I think the artwork in this, once again, is absolutely amazing, and it does show a lot of traditional elements. Isn't that a vibrant, healthy tree growing in its location? Some people complain about this deck because the cards are fully illustrated and there's additional symbolism in them, like adding in various implements here. But for me, I used this deck so much that when I see a grand tableau, I can instantly see which card is where because I know the cards. So this idea that additional symbolism is going to stop you being able to read with the cards, to me really doesn't hold true, because you get to know the cards. And as I say, this was my main reading deck for at least 3-4 years for Lenormand, so I recognise the symbols straight away, and they are for the most part fairly obvious. You can just ignore the additional symbolism if you don't want to use it. For my last Lenormand pick, I decided to go with a somewhat more traditional deck that shows the playing card inserts and focuses on the original sort of time frame, old-fashioned 18th and early 19th century, with these people cards. But this is still a very pretty deck. It's the Enchanted Lenormand by Kathleen Matthews, and the images are very clear, it works well in a grand tableau, and it's very pretty. It has the playing card inserts, but it's also just a lovely colour palette and beautiful images. For me, a deck has to be pretty, otherwise I won't use it. Now, I know not everyone is as into Lenormand as I am, so I thought another option would be to show your 3 favourite other forms of divination or divinatory accessories. So, for example, you could simply show your favourite reading cloth or your favourite tarot bag. Both of these are from Anya M. I'll put the link up on there. However, what I wanted to show are, first off, my favourite pendulum. I got this at the first ever tarot conference that I attended, and I really wanted to get some kind of souvenir from the conference, and I thought, what better than a pendulum? I hadn't used a pendulum in years, and there was a workshop on pendulums, and pendulums were the first form of divination that I ever used. My mum taught me to use them when I was a child, so I thought, yay, I'll get a new pendulum. And I went to this stall and tried out absolutely every single pendulum, asking them, do you want to come home with me? And they all said no. I was gutted. But then the person behind the stall, actually that was Anya M as well, she dug this one out from a box, and it was a little bit dusty, and you know, it's not a colour that I particularly like, or a shape. There were some really beautiful, elegant ones and gorgeous colours, but this is the one that said it wanted to come home with me, and so it did, and it's been my favourite pendulum ever since. Next up, I made a set of runes for myself, putting them on a beautiful green stone for healing. So these are on tumbled stones. I don't know how well you can see those. Kenas, Berkana, Jera. So I made this rune set, and I absolutely love it. The stone itself feels so nurturing and healing, and then there's the runes on them as well, painted by me, so that feels a very personal set. And my third would be a set of witches' runes which I've created. I started out with some basic symbols, which I think I took from, there was a book called Witches' Runes, so like moon rising, I don't know if you can make that out. Anyhow, and incense burning. And then I found other witches' rune sets along the way, and so I just added to my runes. So I've now got a very personal set that's made up of a lot more than were in the original set, and so, you know, with a candle. So it's all kind of witchy things, like a witchy set of 3 and a symbol for water and chalices and birds flying and rings and a star for luck, cauldron for Ciridwen's cauldron. So I really like these. They speak to me at a very personal level because they combine different systems, so that no one else has a rune set exactly like this one. So those are my 3 favourite other forms of divination. I really hope that you've enjoyed this 3x3x3 divination tag, and please do join in. I would love to see your favourite decks and forms of divination. Blessed be.